Way Up with Angela Yee, and it is a Wealth Wednesday. So, of course, my girl Stacey Tisdale is here.
Happy Wealth Wednesdays, everybody.
Woo!
Hello.
We love it.
We are very excited today. You know, we love talking about real estate. You know, we love talking about our real estate club, but we really have found an amazing guest for you today, Mr. Damar VanPutten, who is the CEO, founder of Lux Listing.
Is it Putin like Vladimir Putin?
VanPutten.
VanPutten. I will never say that again then.
That's all good. Yeah.
I will never, ever say that again, ever. I'm sorry. I apologize. Damar.
I could just go by Damar. I'm cool with that.
Okay. You're Damar, because I'm not going close to that again. I'm not going to brag about you, though.
Please.
I think you might have done almost as much in sales as that other guy. You have $100 million in sales in the last year.
Over $100 million.
Over $100 million.
Over now.
3-time platinum and 1-time gold honors from New Jersey Realtor Circle of Excellence Sales Award. And you're ranked number 5 on Property Spark's list of top 100.
Oh, Property Shark.
Property Sharks. That's my typo list of the top 100 realtors on social media in America. And we should start right there because social media was you. That's how you did this, right?
Yeah, we are a highly based social media brokerage. I think, that's how I found majority of my success starting out in the business. Mm-hmm. When I first started, it was the middle of the pandemic. I'm talking like quarantine. So at that point in time, if you remember, you couldn't even do this back in the day. Like, right? This was frowned upon. So I had to figure out how am I going to connect with everyone if, I can't even sit down and have a conversation. And the best way I thought was through social media and, just through giving my testimony of knowing what it's like to buy a home and not even knowing that I was able to buy a home. Really made people connect and take a liking to me. And,
I actually bought a house during the pandemic.
Oh, did you?
And I will say, because I bought my house in Brooklyn during the pandemic, and there weren't a lot of brokers that were showing or real estate agents that were really even showing properties. And there were a lot of people that weren't trying to necessarily. It was an interesting time because some people were trying to move further away because everybody was working virtually and people were in a panic. Yep. And then there were some people that were like, I'm just going to stay put. I don't want to make any moves or do anything, but it did make people want more of a quality of life. I feel like a lot of people left New York, and you're in New Jersey, and you left New York too. We'll talk about that later. But, came to New Jersey because they wanted space, they wanted a backyard, they wanted all of those things. So it really was a prime time to be able to do that and to be able to have a social media account where people could see stuff. People were doing I saw realtors walking through the house with a phone to kind of show people,
That's exactly
around.
What it was.
That's true. People were so focused on social for connection.
Yeah, I think all online businesses were booming during the pandemic. And then just talking about real estate, also interest rates were at record lows during that time too. So almost everyone qualified for a house. I mean, I did. That's what I'm saying. So what were you going to say for you?
She said it worked.
Oh no, I said it worked for me. I was just saying today, my friend from high school and we both got our houses during the pandemic. And we were both like, that was a great move because I also think in this current climate right now, like you said, interest rates were so low, but they were ridiculously low that people aren't 2%. Used to paying this 6 and 7.
People don't realize that was an anomaly.
Yeah, percent right now.
Absolutely.
And then I think people are really concerned now about the cost of even building a house or renovating or getting certain appliances. We don't know what's about to happen.
Right.
What are you seeing when it comes to that?
I mean, I think I just tell people handle things one step at a time, right? Just make sure you secure the asset first and then everything else will fall into place. Through negotiating certain types of deals, we could always work out credits when buying a house, like whether it's through a seller's concession or, a down payment assistance program, grant, or what have you, to set you up with some extra cash after closing to take care of some things you might have to renovate when you move in, or some of those appliances that might not come with the sale.
Right.
So, every situation is different. Everyone's finances is different. But, we try to just do a really good job at setting our clients up for success, not just at the sale, but after as well.
When you started your company, millennials were one of the fastest growing groups. Black millennials were one of the fastest growing group of new homeowners, and that's your market.
Yep.
And they're still pushing it.
They're still pushing strong. black home ownership in general has been on the rise over the past couple of years. That's the statistic. But as you said, the black millennials, I think, are literally leading that charge, especially from my experience. That's our target demographic. So I think it was a little bit of a mentality switch. I remember when I was, I'm a black millennial myself, right? When I was like a teenager or a young adult, I would think of home ownership and I would just associate that with someone who was like super rich or well off, especially being from Brooklyn. Almost everyone's renting.
Yeah.
And then also I've never seen anyone before me, like in my family, own a home. So it kind of just didn't feel like it was in my trajectory at that point in time. But once the pandemic came along, kind of switched everything for me. I kept hearing on the news, interest rates record lows. And then, I also heard at the same time simultaneously that houses in Jersey at that time were going for like $300,000. So, me and my wife had a conversation. I was like, yo,
it's the time.
Yeah, I heard we could buy a house with 3.5% down. I don't know how true that is, but let's look into that. 3.5% of 300,000 is like 10,000.
Yeah.
We got that together for sure.
Right.
So let's go ahead and see about that. And, that's exactly what we did. Thank God it all worked out. Once that happened, though, I almost felt like I didn't even deserve to be in that position as a homeowner.
Imposter syndrome.
Right. Because we did that when we were like 25 years old, I believe. And
that's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And again, it just felt like, wow. Like, I remember we were going on vacation the month.
First of all, being from Brooklyn and being 25 and married already is amazing.
Oh no, we just got married. We just got married like.
I don't know too many Brooklyn guys.
Yeah, we just got married as I think I was 30 a couple months ago.
Oh, so, congratulations!
But this is my high school sweetheart over here. We've been together since I was like 18.
A lot.
Yeah.
Your high school sweetheart.
Yeah. Okay, so you said you guys go ahead, finish. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
She took us way off track. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
So you were 25 years old, and then you guys moved to New Jersey, and you felt like you didn't even.
I didn't belong in the position that I was in. I was like all my friends around me. I literally went from chilling in hallways and I was actually rapping at the time too, like thinking I was going to be a rapper and just, the average Brooklyn lifestyle of a young man is what I was living. And so to just end up in a whole new trajectory of life in a short amount of time like that just, again, made me feel like I didn't belong there. So I was saying this, I have a vivid memory of, it was like my birthday right after we bought the house, and the wifey booked a vacation for us. And I almost didn't even want to go because I'm like, yo,
we got a house, we going on vacation.
I don't know, not even that. I felt like, I don't know if we going to come back. This feel too good to be true. Like me, like, I don't know if the plane going to crash or what. I want to be a homeowner. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? So that's a little funny story. But anyways, that mentality switch right there, realizing like, no, actually, I do belong here because we put in the work, we did the research, and we made sure that we took that chance and that risk to put ourselves in a position, and it was really not that hard. I almost felt responsible to let the rest of my community know
you can do it too.
That you can do it too.
I think that's so important because a lot of times we see something and don't take action. Like it looks good and you're like, oh, that would be dope. But we don't think like, let's research it. Let's figure out how can we make this happen and actually do it. Some people will, I think that's the difference between people who are successful and people who aren't, or people who really take action.
Education.
Right? Yeah.
And you've created an army of you. Like black millennials, you have your brokers look like them. You play music.
Yep.
That's for them. And really, how much do you think that has played a role in the success of your business?
Oh, super. It's all about representation, right? To be able to see someone who looks like you and talks like you, walks like you, dresses like you, I could be a boy. And achieving these heights that, is like a common dream of everyone. Everyone wants to own their own home. Everyone wants to make money, right? These are just common denominators. To see your counterpart achieving these things is like, it makes you see how much more realistic it is for you, rather than just, what we normally see is the white man, suit and tie, et cetera, et cetera. I like to break it down and get right on my people's level, meet them right where they're at, and that way, we're talking eye to eye.
I always say that's what inspired me to buy my first house when my best friend bought hers. And I was like watching her on her journey, and I was like, okay, she buying a house. Exactly. I should start thinking about doing something like that too. Because before that, I wasn't even, I'm from Brooklyn too, and we know how expensive Brooklyn is. I wasn't even thinking that I'll be able to ever do that. But when I saw her do it, I was like, all right, I got to stop wasting time and, wasting money on things, because there were times I feel like, we look back in retrospect like, man, I wish I would have done this back then. And we're going to keep on saying that to ourselves if we don't take action and actually do something. And for you, you're also the youngest broker owner in New Jersey, right?
Yep. Uh-huh.
That's a big deal too. Because yes, I have my real estate license. I know a lot of real estate agents, but you were very young as becoming a broker also.
Yeah. You licensed in New Jersey?
No, New York.
Oh, New York. Will be.
Okay. You think? I have my counterparts in New Jersey now who I can just,
exactly. Yeah. Come holler at us. Hey.
To her point, you have all that, we talk about millennials and sales, but you are also an incredibly successful entrepreneur, and you weren't before. How did you learn all about entrepreneurship and running a multi-million-dollar business?
So, I think from where we come from, it definitely puts us at a disadvantage in a lot of ways, but it also definitely puts us at an advantage in a lot of ways.
Correct.
So what I mean by that, exactly, is that we know how to hustle. Just being from New York, you got to think fast on your feet and know how to make things happen if you want to survive in a city like this, right? That's kudos to you for getting this far and stuff like that as well, and you as well. But from where we come from, and then also my experiences with work. I was working in a marketing agency right out of college, and it was a very high-paced environment. I was working with big brands like BET, TikTok, Ball Up, but like all the black accounts they would throw me on just for for a representation standpoint and things like that.
They say we have a black guy here. Come on, get a BET account.
Exactly.
No, quite literally.
Yeah.
So
Been that person.
I was literally a coordinator there, making like less than $50K a year.
Whoa.
But when it came down to those black accounts, I was automatically a director, client facing.
Now you're the lead on
I'm
the
leading
account.
meetings.
Yeah.
I'm literally coming up with all of the marketing concepts. I'm leading the execution. I'm managing the team, et cetera, but still making that low pay. But anyways, that experience that I got from that situation was invaluable because it really helped me transition into the business owner that I am today, where I'm able to juggle multiple clients at a time without even thinking twice. I'm able to be a great leader to my team because I know what a leader looks like, and I also know what it's like to be working on the ground from a coordinator level all the way up to now me being the CEO of where I'm at. So that definitely played a part in my entrepreneurship. And then I just have a very obsessive personality. So like when I want something, I attack it from every single angle. And that allows me to uncover multiple layers of whatever beast it is that I'm dealing with. And I always find new ways to stop leaving money on the table and make more and more and more situation possible for either me or my team. So,
I think that's good because also I feel like a lot of times with real estate, approaches can be very old-fashioned.
Right.
And for you having the experience that you have, but also being a millennial, but also understanding marketing and social media, it gives you a bit of an edge on how to approach things instead of doing things in a really traditional way. Because now I see like everybody's doing, the real estate TikToks and the videos and things like that. But for you having that experience and being on it super early, I think was a benefit.
Yeah. Now that part of that part of my bag didn't necessarily come from the marketing industry, funny enough, because that was more like experiential marketing. That was me throwing events for those companies. I think that part of my bag came more so from me chasing the rap career because I was always comfortable being in front of the camera.
Right.
I was always comfortable showcasing, I feel like this is drippy, let me throw this on. I don't want to wear the suit and tie. I want to come out like this.
That's interesting.
So once I did that, what I was telling Stacy the other day was when I was working at the marketing industry, even though they put me on those black accounts, I couldn't find comfortability in being myself.
Code switching.
Right. So that's why you say that. So like I would get up and present in front of them, and I would know exactly what I'm talking about because I'm the one who made the presentation. But I would find like when I'm standing up there and trying to talk, I'm trying to talk like them.
Right.
Instead of talking like me, and it messed me up every single time. And it made me sound stupid. So, you know, I made a vow to myself like, I'm an entrepreneur now. This is my business. So I'm gonna run it my way. And through doing that, I was able to connect with so much more people in a genuine way. There's not a gimmick. This is just
that's
me.
great.
You know what I'm
There's
saying?
a great message in authenticity for entrepreneurs because they feel like they have to be everything and do everything.
100%.
How was it for you abandoning your rap career?
You know, funny enough, it wasn't hard at all because when that first real estate check came in, I was like, "Woo!" You know,
Drinking today.
I never get paid off of rap, at least significantly.
Right.
But you know, I found success in real estate really fast. So I think, you know, I got my license January 2021. Sorry, I lied. I got my license November of 2020. By January 2021, I had my first sale.
Oh, that's great.
Right.
So
And
now you can freestyle. I had to do that.
I'm
Oh
a
my
little
God,
rusty.
Sam.
I had
I knew you
to.
could say
All
that.
right,
Listen,
all
we
right,
ain't
all
doing that
right,
today.
all right.
I'm gonna have to get a bag for that on way up with Angela Lee. You know what I'm saying? But my first year, I also ended up selling 27 houses.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And that first year was
That's
during
crazy.
the pandemic,
During the pandemic. Yeah.
which is
Wow.
wild. Because the thing is, people really did want to buy something during that time. It was just hard because I remember one house I wanted to see, they had like a showing for one day only. And you had to come on that day, and I want to say like 30 people came,
Yep.
and they got 13 offers because nobody was really wanting to show their houses,
Yep.
you know, during that time. So that was tough for people.
And not only that, it was tough for me from a realtor standpoint because I would go, like I literally, so the business was booming so much in the first year, I was probably, no exaggeration, juggling like 20 to 25 clients at a time. I didn't have a team or anything like that at that specific point in time. And I was going to, like, putting in offers wasn't a problem. Like the clients was loving the houses that I was showing them and things like that. It was when we were putting in the offer, there were 50 other offers on
Right.
the table as well because it was 2% interest rates. So
everybody-
everyone was like, oh,
How do
this
you
is-
stand out when there's all these offers going into a seller and you want to make sure that your client secures the property? What are some things that you do to make sure that you can really appeal and be on the top of that? Because they're not allowed to tell you what the other offers are, what you need to offer. So you have to kind of, you know, you want to make sure that people are getting the property that they want, but you also want to make sure they're not overpaying for it.
Right. So it's a myth that they're not allowed to tell you. And even if they aren't allowed to tell you, not everybody follows the rules.
Right, they will tell you.
The first thing I do before ever putting in an offer, and realtors, if you listening to this, man, this is some free game right here. You should be charged for this one, but I'm just playing. I make sure I get on the phone with the listing agent if I'm not the listing agent, and figure out as much information as possible so that every offer can be a targeted approach. I'm not into the guessing game. I want to get your seller what they want while still, you know, paying respects to my buyer's budget and, you know, their flexibility on whatever it is that they're offering. So, you know, oftentimes, even if they're like, oh, man, listen, I can't tell you, just put in your best offer, I might say, well, hey, do you know what the property might appraise at? So that, and then if they throw a number out, then I'm like, I bet that's probably the number that they're looking for then, or something similar to that. So I'm just trying to, you know, poke. Some people would tell you flat out, like, listen, man, hey.
Just ask. Because if you don't ask,
you know what I'm saying? You don't
you get nothing.
exactly. But outside of that, other tactics are depending on what the client's finances are. You know, you can do things like if the house may have some, you know, equity in it or not. If your client's putting a very strong offer, like price point wise, you can say, you know, we'll do an appraisal waiver, which basically means regardless of what the appraisal comes in at, we'll still honor the price that we tell you.
Right, so you
that
can
we're
pay the
gonna
difference
We'll pay
from
the
what
difference.
the bank won't cover.
Right. If the client's comfortable with that, obviously. Another thing is if the house is in, you know, crisp condition, and you at least from a cosmetic standpoint, or it's a new construction, you feel very comfortable saying something like, hey, we'll waive the inspection contingency. We'll just do an inspection for our own knowledge. Now, again, that's not something I do on every single deal. That's more so a case-by-case situation. But where it's appropriate, it definitely does help your clients' offers stand out above the rest, because you just have to think from the mind of a seller.
Right.
Like if I'm selling my house, what's going to stand out to me? And for me, is who's going to guarantee me the most money, or who's going to come with the least hassle.
Okay.
And,
You are really good at knowing the moment you're in, like the COVID.
Yeah.
And so much of what you guys were just talking about, that whole millennial momentum during COVID, a lot of that was in response to George Floyd.
Yeah.
Really ironic. Just today, or just this week, they started taking down the Black Lives Matter mural in Washington, D.C. They're erasing that.
On the streets?
There's a multi-block long mural that was made during the
Wow.
George Floyd protests, and they're taking it down. And the Washington, D.C. was threatened with not getting federal money if they didn't. What is the current climate for blacks when it comes to real estate and home buying? That whole COVID George Floyd thing really pushed us in one way, and now everything's changed. What advice would you have for our community building wealth in real estate in this current climate?
I would say if you are in a position where you can grab something, regardless of what's going on in the world and politics and things like that, that stuff that's unfortunately out of our control. But what you can control is how you're setting up the generations to come after you with success based off of your actions. So
people are worried about the economy, interest rates, everything.
Right. Listen, again, things that we cannot control, right? So you're going to worry yourself into a basic life. That's not what, you can't be scared to take risks. If we were scared to take risks, we wouldn't even be sitting with you guys talking here today, just quite frankly. So I would say, as I don't want to sound tone deaf to what's happening in the world, because that's not what I'm trying to get across, but I'm basically saying regardless of what's happening, the best thing that you can do is making sure you get a piece of America, because the more pieces we have of America, we're slowly not becoming the minority. We're slowly gaining power as a generation, as a people, and now we start having more say because we have wealth behind us, we have businesses behind us, we have houses to pass down to our kids. Our kids now have, they're being born into money, being born into equity and things like that. Also, sorry, shout out to my son Amari. He told me make sure I shout his name out when I get on here. He definitely said that this morning. He said so. Hey,
and you're right about that. The last thing we want is to feel stagnant, and I think that sometimes when it comes to a lot of things like voting and businesses and home ownership, the feeling that they want us to have is that we can't do anything about it, don't make a move. And you always have to figure out, like, what are some things that you can do to make it happen if it's coming together as a group. Like we have the Wealth Wednesdays Real Estate Club where people are doing deals together.
Oh, that's nice. I'd love to be a part of that.
Yeah, no, honestly,
send people into the real estate club, exactly what she's saying. When this whole shift in administration happened, we just immediately went, let's just go inside and create our own economy.
Yeah.
We're doing stuff with each other because black dollars do matter.
100%.
Right. And I know you're able to get people market deals that aren't even listed.
Yep.
Yeah, and I feel like that's always valuable too, because then you don't have the competition of a bunch of people bidding on something. You get something that is off market.
That is our biggest, I think, sales point, especially in this new world of like buyer agency agreements and things like that. Through just doing good business and the relationships that I've made over the past couple of years, we have some of the biggest developers in Newark, tucked. So they know, like, if I list a house, if I'm building a house, it's best that I pass it over to Lux Listings because they'll procure me a buyer before I'm even done with this property.
Right, and now we can just secure that financing, and we know it's a win-win for everybody.
Because the buyer doesn't have to pay $1 extra than the asking price. The asking price is always super fair, and these are also a lot of new construction opportunities, so they come with a bunch of perks too, like tax abatements from the city. limited liability on the buyers because they come with 10-year builder's warranties. So anything goes wrong with like the structure or the systems of the house, like central air, whatever, that those would be covered. So
and other things like being able to customize things too.
Yeah.
When it's a new construction, you can say, "Oh, I want these floors. I want these. I want to upgrade this. I want to do this." Like that's, I think, amazing because no house that you get is going to have everything the way you like it. But if you can get into a new construction, you're able to get the details that would be important to you. Then you don't have to change it later.
100%.
You know?
How can people find you?
Well, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Damar.Lux. You can find the business at Lux Listings NJ. If you want to give us a call, it's 914-898-LUX.
Don't play. Get it.
Yeah.
Give it all. Yeah, give all the information. And I want to ask you this because you are a broker. So when did that switch happen? Like you said, at first you were juggling like 25 listings at once, people with offers, but then you went on to become have your own brokerage. When did that shift happen?
So that we just opened up the brokerage in June of last year. In New Jersey, at least, in order to become a broker, you have to be a realtor for at least 3 years.
Okay.
So that's really just what I was waiting for. So my third year.
I know you couldn't wait.
Yeah, I couldn't wait.
Counting.
But that switch happened at the end of my first year. I actually started a real estate team since I couldn't become a broker. And again, just by giving my testimony, not only, I did really good as a realtor by giving my testimony as a home buyer, but then I started doing really good as a team lead by giving my testimony as to how being a realtor changed my life financially. And also past financially, just being able to, wake up whenever you want, work whenever you want, things like, even though and realistically, I was working way harder.
I'm saying it's not really whatever you want,
but it still is for yourself.
Correct, but it's for yourself. Yes, correct. So it's 100% different. So in that, again, people really took to that, and I was able to, bring on a team of, I think, about 30-something realtors.
That's amazing.
In a short amount of time. And, not everybody... I learned really fast. So originally my first thing was, how many realtors can I get? I just want realtors, because we were popular and stuff like that, and it was easy to get realtors. But I learned quickly that it's not about quantity; it's more so about quality. So, I had a team of 30-something realtors, and only like 4 of them was producing.
Okay.
And I was
got to streamline
killing
things.
them by a landslide, and I didn't really like the thought of that because I'm trying to build a brand. I don't necessarily want me to be the brand. I want it to be Lux Listings, because that'll mean anytime somebody comes to buy a house, they're looking for me. I can't focus on higher level aspects of the business if I'm still working on every single sale in that capacity. So by the time it was time for me to open up the brokerage, I had that experience of what I didn't want to see as a broker. And I kind of just, rewired the whole thing. I cut half of the team. I had to say, let them go. And I started fresh. And, right now, the most important thing when bringing on new people is the interview process. And the screening process, super vital. If they don't have that same drive, if I can't sniff that out, the work ethic, being a self-starter, self-motivated, things like that, then, this isn't the place, for them.
I saw one of the houses you sold, Kyle Rich was there.
Oh, yeah.
Now, did you say, I want to get back in the studio, or?
Now, I definitely threw out the story a couple of times that I used to rap, but no, I didn't.
Like, did you hear me?
Yeah, I didn't want to do them like that, make them feel like I was trying to, you know what I'm saying? But they were really cool people, and to be honest, they came to me saying that, they're making a bunch of money now, and have been for, a little while now, and they don't feel like they're doing anything significant with their money.
Invest.
And I love that.
Yeah, can't just be sitting in a bank.
Yeah.
Right. So, just even them having that mentality and wanting to do better for themselves, I felt like, I was the perfect guy to help them, because I ended up selling them a multifamily, new construction, like I just said, off market, things like that. And now, in that market where they bought, those houses are actually going up 22% in value annually.
Amazing.
Right. And then being that it's a multi-fam,
They can make some money off
they got
of it
some
too.
money to go against the mortgage. So you're super thankful for that. We locked in at this point. You know, we chat every now and then, and it's a pretty cool thing. Yeah.
And I saw one person you sold the house to. They got you a trip to Johannesburg.
Yeah, crazy, right?
That's a great gift to give
that one blew my mind.
broker.
I was like, what the hell? Shoot. But that just goes to show, like, again, we do really good business. We put the clients first. It's not really, like, I don't want to sound cliche. It's not really about the money. The money will come. For me, it's more so about the relationships and
you want people to be
seeing
happy.
it through. Yeah,
you want them to be
100%.
like, this was an amazing, for a lot of people, that would be like their biggest purchase ever.
It is their
and you want it
biggest
to
purchase
be
ever.
a great experience.
Right.
All
And
right.
it has been.
Well, we appreciate you so much for coming through.
Thank you so much
It's
for
good that
having
we
me.
have like a New Jersey, because I feel like I see you moving everybody from New York to New Jersey. You know, like
I'm still repping though.
I
You
see.
him?
I see.
Yeah.
You
So,
know,
yeah.
you're cool. No. But I do see a lot of people like this when you post like this couple's moving from New York City to New Jersey, and I got them. So, you know, that's good though. I did look in New Jersey before I bought in Brooklyn. So.
You know, hey, second
know.
investment property, you just holler at me. You know, you're a realtor, so we'll make it happen.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate you for coming through.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you so much.